Well, hi there guys. In today's video, I thought it would be useful on a quiet weather day. It's Wednesday as I'm recording this. So I thought it would be useful, since this week is Lightning Safety Awareness Week, to maybe talk some lightning fun facts, mix in a few myths that you may or may not heard about, and we'll just have a little bit of fun with it. But I think first and foremost, before we get to that, I think I'll take you over to my makeup spot a little bit later and we'll chat about it. While I'm here, I think I would like to touch upon the forecast. Obviously much quieter after this past Monday where we had severe weather. If you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever, you might have seen that my umbrella and my, I guess you can call it a picnic table, even though it's not like a typical picnic table. I don't know, it's a small metal-y type, inexpensive metal-y type table that got uplifted, even though for my umbrella size I had the proper weight that it said I should have purchased with it. Oh well, but it was a casualty of the storms. Really strong gust front, I have to say, with that particular storm. A lot of people had their fun mocking, the meteorologist. Oh, you should have known about it, blah, blah, blah. I did know about it. I did hear the warning. My husband was walking away from our Echo device as the warning was being read, so he claims he didn't hear it. I thought he was just not caring and was going to roll the dice on this, because as you so wonderfully pointed out, well, sometimes warnings get issued and nothing happens. Sometimes you're just not in the right spot or the right side of the storm, or the right part of the storm anyway doesn't hit you. The right part of the storm hit us. That's why you always, do these things, because weather is fickle. Somewhere down the street could get more damage than, say, your home or vice versa or whatnot, especially when it comes to tornadoes and stuff, but I digress there. So hopefully everybody had a good laugh at my expense, and now I need to get some new patio furniture. My plants were all right, though. That's the good thing. It was a little scary there for them, but aside from that, a much quieter week overall now that we've got that out of the way, and overall, just a wonderful stretch in weather. After doing my forecast, there's really not too much that I've noticed, other than I think we very well might have our next heat wave right around the corner. I have 3 90-degree days starting Sunday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's probably the thing that stands out to me the most. We're just going to get into that summertime pattern where we're talking the Bermuda high, and that's exactly what it sounds like. It's a pretty... We have these large-scale features that are always in place. The Bermuda high is one of them, and it surges into the area and strengthens, in the Bermuda area in the Atlantic, in that particular area. And when it builds, we usually get our summertime heat. When it kind of relaxes a little bit, then that allows for your fronts and whatnot to kind of arrive. And depending on how strong it is, it can stall whatever's trying to come from the west, or even arguably push it around the ridge and then up into Canada before it even gets to us. Again, that depends on the situation. But I do see a Bermuda high building. The European model has it the strongest. And I want to say, climatologically speaking, I guess, or textbook speaking, the way you would expect it to be. The GFS has it a little farther north and not quite what you would recognize as your traditional placement for a Bermuda high. But I mean, it still has the warmth building nonetheless, even though it's not in that textbook ideal location. And like I said, the Bermuda high is exactly what it sounds like. It's just I don't want to say a constant area of high pressure. I'm trying to think of, I guess, a nice way to put it. But it's a long-term area of high pressure that usually sets up, especially during the summertime, in the Atlantic, near the Bermuda area. When it builds strong into the Bermuda area, it affects us and it keeps us warm, like I mentioned moments ago. And I do see that happening starting this weekend and into early next week. With that said, it does look mainly dry. There could just be a few hit or miss storms on any particular day, although the European's coming in drier. The GFS, not so much. It's going a little storm crazy, but I think that's what we call feedback, because the next front is actually going to be stalled a good bit out to our west. So I think what's popping up ahead of it more than likely is called feedback, or convective feedback in this instance, which just means, it's so far out, the model's just getting a little too stormy for what the setup really calls for, because as you go out in time, you know, your error gets greater with the models, whether it's a good model or not. That's just the way it is. So that's kind of what I see more than anything. Otherwise, though, before we even get to the weekend, where the warmth, then heat and humidity and storm chances come back, the next few days are going to be rather nice. Today's going to be in the 70s, mostly sunny skies, looking gorgeous. Nothing really to say about that. Thursday, we're back into the 80s, but maybe still slightly below average, which for today is 85 degrees. And then Friday, we will be seasonal or nearly average for this time of year, or normal. There's both of those terminologies meant to mean the same thing, but there's argument about, you know, which one is the better one to use. Different argument for a different day. Won't get into that today. But yeah, mostly sunny Friday. The humidity, it'll start to tick back up, but it'll still be in check for most of the day. I think Saturday's the day that it's back in full force and you really feel the mugginess make its grand old comeback. And yeah, that's really it. I mean, a quiet forecast pattern all around. I mean, could a few of these random pop-up showers and storms that you see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, even Saturday, there could be a stray one or two. Could they be severe? Sure. When you've got heat and humidity, I mean, we saw that Monday. I mean, there was a front too that helped. We're still in this thing where, you know, the wind shear, both speed shear and directional shear, they've just been all right. So a lot of these storms have either been running off of heat and humidity in combination with your trigger, but we're not going to quite have a trigger. So these might just be, you know, whatever you can get by pure heat and humidity, but it doesn't look like any crazy severe weather threat. Although obviously, you know, any storm with the right amount of energy can get there. It's just a matter of, you know, if you don't have the right ingredients, can it sustain itself long enough? That's going to be that scenario. But yeah. All right, I'm going to go take care of a couple of things, some busy work as I prepare for the shows, and then in a few minutes, I'll meet you over there, get my makeup on or get my makeup started, and we'll talk some lightning fun. Everyone, I'm back. Putting on my makeup now. Got a little bit of a head start on it. Got some things done for the shows in a little bit, and some more things that I can wait until I'm in show to finish up, which is, you know, good. It's good when you're, you know, in position and ready to go for work. But yes, so let's talk lightning. You know, so much information from lightning, so much we know, still a few things we don't know. You know, I don't even know where to start. The first and foremost thing, actually, when I think lightning and I just think general things, I'm gonna gripe about heat lightning. All right, so heat lightning. It's not a thing, and I'll explain why. It's kind of a misnomer of sorts. You know, lightning, it's kind of used, heat lightning anyway, is used to describe this instance where you might see the flash, like you don't see the lightning bolt, you don't hear the thunder, or both, but you see the flash in the clouds in the distance or whatnot. That's still lightning. There's no such thing as heat lightning. It is lightning. It's kind of like that if a tree falls and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? And the correct answer is, of course it makes a sound. Just because nobody's there to hear the sound waves doesn't mean those sound waves didn't exist. Same deal with thunder. The thunder is happening. Just because you're not within, I think it's 10 kilometers to hear it, doesn't mean the sound never happened. And then just because you're too far away, or maybe there's something in the way like mountains or whatever that you can't see the lightning bolt, also doesn't mean that stop saying heat lightning in short. It's just lightning. It's a misnomer. Probably the biggest thing that I gripe about when it comes to lightning. Second to spelling it incorrectly. Little bit of a pain when it comes to that, for lack of better words that I can use, and not need to put explicit or something crazy. You know what? No, YouTubers curse, but I'm not going to. I don't believe in that on these things anyway. So in terms of, lightning safety in general, outdoor activities are obviously the number one way that people get injured or even killed by lightning, particularly water related activities like boating or fishing, for example. If you hear thunder or see lightning, you are close enough to be struck. The phrase that the National Weather Service likes to use, the cute little catchphrase, when thunder roars, go indoors. It's your lightning version of turn around, don't drown. At the first sign or the first sound of thunder or lightning, you are immediately close enough to be struck. Just to reiterate that again, your number one safest place is going to be indoors in a substantial, sturdy building, like your house, for example. Like a shack is, not a good example, or a shed. Although, lightning does tend to strike the more isolated, tallest, and pointiest objects. So that would be your number one thing to avoid. Trees, obviously, not a safe place. I feel like, it's shielding you from the rain, but it's certainly not going to shield you from any lightning because it's tall, especially if it's isolated and on its own, for example, in an open field. That's the last thing you want to do. Now, for a while, if you were caught in a field or whatever outside and, trying to get to shelter was not immediately a good idea, or something that you could obtain quickly, up until 2008, I believe it was, crouching, but on your tippy toes, specifically crouching on your tippy toes was recommended. The National Weather Service stopped recommending that, and I believe it was 2008, just because, it gave the impression that there was a safe way to be outside. And truly, there is no safe way. That was meant to be like an absolute last-ditch effort sort of scenario, but even then, upon reevaluating it, aside from, like I said, with the, gives a false impression that there is a way you can safely be outside if we're telling you can do this. But also at the same time, you should still be trying to get inside. So that, first and foremost, absolutely under no circumstances should crouching happen anymore, and that's the reasoning for it, because it gives too many people that false impression that you don't have to be seeking shelter from the storm, that you can just do that and it's okay. The science behind it is fine. It's the message that it sends that is not so okay. And even then, even if you do that, as long as you're outside, there's no guarantee that that's going to protect you, especially if you're in an open field and you're technically the tallest object. That's still not going to help you, or thing, obviously. So that's not recommended anymore. And I remember in college, I graduated in 2009. I remember in college in one of my classes before then, one of our instructors telling us this. So it's important to know that, sometimes information changes and updates for whatever reason. Now, indoors, before I get to indoors, let's talk cars. So yes, if you have a sturdy frame or outer shell, for example, a non-convertible type car, that does offer protection. The car might not necessarily be in good shape though after, a direct hit. Antennas, they can explode and all this other crazy stuff that I've heard of before. But yes, if it's an enclosed outer shell with the windows rolled down or rolled up, the windows up is very important to that. It does offer protection. A convertible, no. Some people, there's this myth that the rubber tires, the wheels, that can offer some grounding or whatnot. That's not a thing. The rubber tires does absolutely nothing. It's just the outer shell specifically with windows closed that's going to protect you in that instance. But still, you want to be inside because, fun fact here, lightning, 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Sure, it's a quick few seconds instantaneous strike, but that's still really hot, and you still, that car is still going to sustain damage. That car is not just going to, be like some building a tall building that can get struck. For example, the Empire State Building gets struck, I think it's 23 times a year or something. It's not going to be like that where, you hit the pointy part and then it gets grounded because the building, good structure, yada, yada, it's not going to be like that. Cars are much smaller structures, so if cars were to be hit, you might survive, but the car will have seen better days after that. For sure will have seen better days after that. Jeeps, particularly the Jeeps, that have those tops that you can pull back, those are a no-go in addition to convertibles, just to be clear on that too. Although, other Jeeps that are built more like the traditional SUVs or, car structures with the metal shell that we have in mind, those are obviously okay. There are different types of cars, obviously, and different versions of each brand and make, model, and whatnot. So now let's talk inside. So, are you 100% safe inside? No. Anything that is in your house that can conduct electricity, for example, piping or plumbing, wires, anything corded into the wall. And you don't want to be near windows too. That's kind of a safety issue in many ways as well, because if you're in a storm that's really bad, and it's a severe storm, for example, and you could be experiencing some intense wind gusts. First of all, there's just the projectile issue there, a loose object, a tree branch could get thrown into the window. But, you just don't want to be near a window, period, during a thunderstorm. It's not very safe. And then the plumbing, everybody, you hear these, what you would think would be an old wives' tale, oh, don't wash dishes or take a shower during a storm. That's actually true. That's based in fact. That's, correct. And I know a lot of us don't have corded phones anymore, but and have upgraded over the years, but it just goes to the same, where you don't want to be messing with corded electronics or anything of the sort during a thunderstorm too, in case your house were to be hit by a lightning bolt. So those are, a couple of things to think about. In terms of lightning safety, for sure. Even your sturdy structures like your home that are recommended, even those do have their limitations and their little caveats that you need to be aware of. Let me see, what else? Thinking of lightning safety, fun facts, we got a few in there. Let's see, I did talk the heat lightning. That was probably the biggest thing I wanted to make sure I get out there. Just please stop. Now, here's a good one. Now that I think about this, here is a good one. Say, hypothetically speaking, you're with somebody and a person gets struck by lightning. I didn't know people thought this. So, if a person is struck by lightning, they do not continue to hold the charge. You can't get sparked or some sort of electrical shortage or current. Apparently people, because of that fear of some sort of residual charge being left in the body, would not give CPR for fear of that to the person if, it's necessary, which very often it can be for those who are unfortunate enough to be struck by lightning. Absolutely, positively, that is not true. Do not waste time. Give the person CPR if they were struck by lightning and in need of it. Oh, here's a myth. We know that, oh man, I can't believe I almost forgot this one. Lightning never strikes twice. 100,000,000% false. Lightning always strikes your tallest, your pointiest, and most isolated objects. So absolutely, lightning strikes the same areas twice. Maybe it's because maybe that was meant to say people can't get struck more than once. The chances of getting struck by lightning are incredibly small. The chances of being struck by lightning twice are even smaller than that. With that said, Can it happen? Absolutely. I remember there was one instance. Was it a PA man? I'm trying to remember. It was not in our area. I want to say it was somewhere in, say, Northeast PA. But I remember, man got struck inside, I believe. Or the first time he was outside on his porch. Again, why you need to be inside. And why, even your windows wouldn't help you, because this man was on his porch and he still got struck. But then he got struck again while, like, he was washing his hands or something crazy like that. So this man, a PA man, so there's some sort of local, hey, it can happen to me connection. He got struck twice. I remember we aired a story on this at some point over the last few years. I'll never remember, like, when it actually was. But that is a thing. Is it uncommon? Sure. Actually, fun fact, I believe, I'm going to have to fact check myself after this, but I believe that you do actually have a better chance of being struck by lightning than you do of winning the lottery, or Mega Millions, or one of those, whatever those ones are. Not a scratch-off ticket, but like one of those actual like jackpot type things. So yeah, something to keep in mind for sure. All right, guys, well, our 4 a.m. meeting is here, so I have to call it a day. I hope you liked this video. Hopefully you learned some stuff. Again, Lightning Safety Awareness Week. Make sure that you're taking care of yourselves and that you are being aware. And really, truly, just go inside, and stay inside for 30 minutes after a thunderstorm. So comment below, let me know if you liked this video, what you would like to see, if you have any other additional comments, stories, or just fun things to talk about, or any additional questions, really. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Bye.